I think this is a time when we particularly need to pay attention to empathy in children and young people. We're living in a world with many, many challenges: political, economic, global, environmental. All sorts of challenges are facing humanity at the moment, and children and young people are exposed to all of those challenges too. Now, we don't know exactly what the impact of that will be on children and young people, but we do know from research evidence collected over the last 30 years that mental health difficulties have become more prevalent in children and young people. There is more anxiety in children and young people now than there was even 15 years ago. So what do we do about this, and what role does empathy have within this context? One of the reasons why I support the work of Empathy Lab is that it finds a natural way to integrate work on empathy, which is so important for social relationships and well-being, into the mainstream activity of children and young people at school. By focusing on the interface between stories and reading, we're able to connect the development of empathy, the development of social and emotional competencies more broadly, with children's academic learning, because reading is a fundamental part of what children and young people do when they're at school. This is a real win-win situation. We're already surrounded by print and books at school. We're already engaged in talking about stories with children and young people. We can use this opportunity to explore thoughts and feelings, to understand each other's psychological and emotional experiences, and in that way grow empathy. You know, at the moment many people feel that there is something of an empathy deficit in the world, that we don't have enough insight into each other's perspectives, that we can't find ways to connect with other people who have different perspectives from our own, to find compromises, to find those win-win situations where we're both able to find something positive in areas where we start off with differences. Empathy is a crucial foundation for enabling us to reach out to other people who might seem very different to us at first, to find a way to create an inclusive and diverse community, and to build greater social understanding. But perhaps most importantly, empathy is also a powerful force for social change. There's a real social action dimension to the work of Empathy Lab. Writers of children and young people's books often tackle really difficult issues, whether it's prejudice, whether it's bullying, whether it's discrimination or homelessness. A whole range of different challenging topics are covered in children's books. And by exploring those issues and thinking about it through an empathic lens, understanding what characters are thinking and feeling, and wondering about those things, and looking at how other people interpret those experiences, we find new ways to grow in our relationships with other people. Empathy Lab takes children and young people on a journey to build the core skills required for improving empathy. Whether we're talking about a richer vocabulary for emotions, a greater imaginative understanding of what other people might be feeling, whether we're talking about attitudes towards social change, Empathy Lab provides a context for children to explore this with each other and, of course, with the adults at their school, and indeed with parents at school. And this is one of the key reasons why I'm supporting the work of Empathy Lab. It provides a genuinely authentic social force for change within the everyday school experience of children and young people.